Blindness. The United States Air Force has been plunged into a state of profound operational blindness over the Persian Gulf. This isn't a partial loss of vision, a mere degradation of capabilities, or even a scenario where diminished capacity can be managed with clever workarounds. No, it is absolute, total blindness. Imagine finding yourself in a vast, unfamiliar building where every single light has been extinguished, the doors locked behind you, and you have no prior knowledge of its layout. That is the new reality. In the past 18 hours, 4 critical E-3 Sentry aircraft have been utterly destroyed. 2 met their end at Prince Sultan Air Base in Saudi Arabia. Another was obliterated at Udeid Air Base in Qatar. And a 4th was lost on the ground at a classified forward operating location, a site the Pentagon remains unwilling to officially name, precisely because doing so would confirm what Iran has already incontrovertibly proven. Iran possesses an intimate, precise knowledge of the exact locations where every American asset in this volatile region is parked, fueled, and staffed. For invaluable aircraft, gone. If that stark reality doesn't immediately convey the unprecedented conditions under which every American pilot over the Persian Gulf is now operating, conditions unparalleled since the Korean War, then allow me to elaborate. Once the true function of the E-3 Sentry is understood, the destruction of 4 of them within a single operational window ceases to be merely a military setback. It escalates into an entirely different category of event. This is the precise moment the character of this air war fundamentally shifted. It is the moment Iran unveiled an intelligence capability that should deeply alarm every defense planner in Washington, far more so than the strikes themselves. The E-3 Sentry is not a combat aircraft. It doesn't deploy bombs or fire missiles. It carries no offensive weaponry whatsoever. What it carries, unequivocally, is vision. Before we proceed, a quick note. While researching this story, I uncovered fascinating patterns in how crises like this typically escalate and how investors and governments often react long before the public is even aware. I've detailed these patterns in a report titled, The Global Crisis Survival Guide. If you're interested, you can find it linked in the description. Now let's delve deeper. The E-3 is built upon a robust Boeing 707 airframe, distinguishable by its iconic, rotating radar dome, a massive 30 feet in diameter, mounted prominently above the fuselage. This sophisticated radar system, operating at an altitude of 29,000 feet, can simultaneously track over 600 aircraft within a vast 250-mile radius in all directions. It possesses the advanced capability to differentiate between commercial and military aircraft, and it can identify potential threat profiles solely from radar signatures. Crucially, it can track ballistic missiles from the very moment they launch. Beyond mere detection, the E-3 can flawlessly coordinate the movements of dozens of fighter aircraft concurrently, feeding each pilot real-time positional data on every airborne entity within its immense operational bubble, both friendly and hostile, with updates streaming continuously every second of the mission. In plain language, for an active air war, this means one thing. Every American F-35, F-15, F-16, and B-1 that has conducted a strike mission over Iran in the last 2 weeks did so with an E-3 Sentry vigilantly watching its back. The E-3 provided each pilot with critical intelligence. The active locations of Iranian air defense radars, the launch points of Iranian interceptors. It meticulously calculated intercept trajectories even before Iranian missiles left the ground, relaying warnings directly into pilot headsets with ample time for evasive maneuvers. It precisely coordinated electronic warfare aircraft to suppress Iranian radar systems at the exact moment strike packages crossed the border, ensuring timing was accurate to the second. The E-3 is far more than a mere support aircraft. It is, in essence, the central brain of the entire air operation. The fighters are merely its fists. Without this brain, those fists are flailing, lacking crucial awareness of where to strike, what threats are incoming, or the origin of the next danger until it's perilously close to sight. Now, 4 of these invaluable brains lie incinerated on runways in Saudi Arabia and Qatar. And the pilots who took to the skies this morning did so without them. The United States Air Force possesses a total inventory of 33 E-3 Sentry aircraft. That is the complete global count. This isn't 33 aircraft deployed solely to this theater. It's the sum total of every E-3 in existence across the entire American military. Consider, then, the profound implications of losing 4 of them in just 18 hours against that finite number. This represents a staggering 12% of the entire American E-3 fleet destroyed in less than a day, within a single theater, against a solitary adversary. While NATO allies do operate additional E-3 variants, the United Kingdom has 6, France 4, and Saudi Arabia 5 of a modified version. and the alliance's combined inventory softens the proportional impact compared to a purely bilateral conflict. These allied assets cannot simply fill the void. NATO allies are not currently authorized to operate their E-3s within Iranian contested airspace. Their coverage serves to augment, but it cannot replace the crucial capabilities lost on those runways yesterday. The timeline for replacing even a single E-3 aircraft is not a matter of weeks, or even months. The E-3 production line ceased operations in 1992. No new airframes are being manufactured anywhere in the world. Every E-3 that exists today is the only E-3 that will ever exist until its designated replacement program, the E-7 Wedgetail, finally completes its significantly delayed development and deployment schedule. The E-7 program is already years behind its original projected timeline. There is no emergency production option, no hidden warehouse of spare aircraft awaiting deployment. The 4 aircraft that tragically burned on those runways yesterday are, simply put, never coming back. And here is a critical detail that has been conspicuously absent from every official briefing, yet is fully understood by every Air Force commander in the region. The destruction of the E-3s was not a random act of fortune. Iran did not merely get lucky, targeting for aircraft that happened to be in exposed locations. The precise targeting data required to hit 4 E-3s across 2 different countries simultaneously within the same operational window, before any could reposition, demands intimate knowledge of their exact parking locations, their maintenance schedules, and the specific periods when all 4 would be grounded rather than airborne. Such a meticulously crafted intelligence picture requires considerable time and effort to construct. Iran built this intelligence picture quietly, deliberately. While global attention was fixed on missile launches and fluctuating oil prices, and American officials were publicly downplaying Iranian capabilities as degraded and diminished, Iran was systematically mapping the exact locations of every high-value aircraft in 2 countries with enough precision to ensure the destruction of all 4 before a single one could even take off. The strikes annihilated aircraft, but the intelligence that enabled those strikes destroyed something far more fundamental. The deeply ingrained American assumption that its most valuable non-combat assets were operating from locations beyond Iran's accurate detection and targeting capabilities. Let's now consider the perilous new reality American pilots confront today. A reality starkly different from just 2 weeks ago. 2 weeks prior, an American F-35 approaching Iranian airspace possessed a complete and uncompromised operational picture. The E-3 overhead meticulously tracked every Iranian air defense radar within a 250-mile radius. It continuously monitored every Iranian interceptor, both on the ground and in the air. It fed the pilot a constantly updated display, showing precisely where threats were, their speed, and their projected intercept trajectories, providing ample time to react. That pilot was flying fully informed, with total vision, capable of making every decision based on complete situational awareness. This morning, that same pilot is flying with fundamentally degraded awareness. The significant coverage gaps created by the absence of 4 E-3s are not randomly distributed across the theater. Instead, they are strategically concentrated over the very areas where American strike packages operate most frequently. These critical gaps encompass the primary approach corridors into Iran's western and southern territories, the vital maritime zones above the Strait of Hormuz, and the airspace over Gulf state bases where American fighters routinely stage and refuel before venturing into contested airspace. Iran did not strike 4 random E-3s. Iran struck the 4 E-3s that specifically covered the most vital flight paths American aircraft utilized to reach Iranian targets. Pilots who took off this morning knew they faced reduced coverage. They understood that Iranian air defense operators, who previously had approximately 90 seconds of warning before an American aircraft entered effective radar range, now potentially gained 3 to 4 additional minutes of acquisition time because the crucial electronic warfare coordination the E-3 provided has been severely degraded. 3 to 4 minutes can be the critical difference between a radar being jammed before it achieves a targeting lock and that radar successfully handing off a firing solution to an Iranian surface-to-air missile battery. This translates into 7 additional minutes of effective Iranian radar operation over some of the most contested airspace on Earth. This is the grim operational reality born from 4 burning aircraft on 2 runways. And those minutes will inevitably manifest in American loss rates in the coming days, in ways that official briefings will likely attribute to operational complexity and enemy adaptation, rather than to the actual, devastating event. For specific aircraft destroyed in 18 hours, decisively removing the protective layer that was actively keeping American pilots alive. Here's what the official response explicitly stated, and here is what it was painstakingly designed not to say. The Pentagon confirmed the strikes. CENTCOM issued a statement characterizing the attack as a significant escalation targeting critical intelligence, surveillance, and reconnaissance assets. The statement also confirmed that American forces responded with retaliatory strikes on the Iranian launch platforms deemed responsible. However, what the CENTCOM statement entirely avoided addressing was how Iran knew the simultaneous locations of all 4 aircraft. E-3 Sentry aircraft are not static. They do not park in the same location every night. Their positioning is actively managed with deliberate unpredictability. They rotate between primary bases and forward operating locations on strictly classified schedules. Their exact parking coordinates on any given night are not accessible in any public database, any commercial satellite imagery service, or any open-source intelligence feed. For Iran to accurately strike 4 E-3s across 2 countries within the same 18-hour operational window, it required current, hyper-precise intelligence on the exact location of each aircraft, not merely approximate areas. We are talking about exact coordinates, accurate enough to guide ballistic missiles to specific parking aprons on specific runways at specific bases in 2 entirely separate nations. That intelligence could have originated from one of 2 chilling sources. Either Iran possesses deeply embedded human sources within those bases, individuals with access to daily aircraft positioning and maintenance schedules, a scenario that implies Iran has penetrated the security perimeters of at least 2 American military installations at a level demanding an immediate and comprehensive counterintelligence investigation. Or, it came from sophisticated signals intelligence, capable of tracking E-3 radar systems during their ground power-up cycles, and precisely calculating their physical positions solely from their electromagnetic emissions. Neither explanation offers any comfort. Both carry profound implications that extend far beyond the mere loss of 4 aircraft on those runways. And here is the second critical omission from every official briefing regarding these strikes. Over the past 2 weeks, this escalating conflict has seen the consumption of Patriot radar systems, which were vital for coordinating American air defense. It has cost aerial refueling tankers, which provided American fighter jets with the crucial range to operate deep within contested airspace. And now, the airborne early warning aircraft that served as the coordinating hub for the entire air battle picture, keeping every pilot in the theater informed and protected. These are not random losses of unrelated systems. They represent the sequential, deliberate removal of the 3 fundamental capabilities that collectively transform individual American aircraft into a formidable, integrated air force. Strip away the air defense radars, and the missile shield inherently weakens. Eliminate the tankers, and the operational reach of strike aircraft drastically shortens. Remove the E-3s, and the entire network loses its coordinating intelligence, its essential brain. What remains are capable individual aircraft, yes, but operating without the intricate system architecture that previously made them collectively overwhelming. Iran is not merely attacking American air power. Iran is methodically disassembling it, component by component, in a sequence that betrays a predetermined operational logic rather than opportunistic targeting. Someone in Tehran meticulously wrote the order of operations for this campaign long before the first missile of this war was fired, and that order is now being systematically executed. Russia's response to the E-3 strikes was swift, technical, and arrived within hours. Russian military analysts published a detailed public assessment, explicitly noting that the loss of 4 E-3 aircraft created specific, quantifiable coverage gaps over the northern Persian Gulf, gaps that their own independent monitoring architecture had already precisely mapped. This assessment was sufficiently precise to be operationally useful. While it refrained from publishing exact coordinates, it left no doubt that Russia is tracking American capability degradation in this theater with the same systematic precision Iran is applying to inflict it. Russia is not a neutral observer in this scenario. Russia operates its own airborne early warning aircraft, the A-50 mainstay. Russian commanders understand precisely what losing 4 of those critical assets would mean for an integrated air campaign. Russia's public commentary on the American losses is not merely analysis for general audiences. It is a clear, unambiguous signal to every military planner capable of interpreting it. We see what is happening here. We understand precisely what it means. And we are meticulously watching every step. China, in contrast, published nothing official. The Chinese Ministry of Defense has maintained a consistent, strategic silence on specific military developments throughout this conflict. However, within hours of the public confirmation of the E-3 losses, Chinese military aviation forums, which defense analysts frequently use as an informal, unattributed channel for government-sanctioned technical discussions, carried detailed technical analyses of the event. The specific vulnerability Iran exploited, targeting irreplaceable, high-value ISR, intelligence, surveillance, and reconnaissance platforms on the ground before they could reposition, is being meticulously documented in Beijing. This precision has nothing to do with sympathy for either side and everything to do with a pragmatic understanding of what tactics prove effective against American air power, for when the time comes to apply that understanding elsewhere. The Gulf states are grappling with a different, more immediate kind of dread. Saudi Arabia, for instance, operates its own E-3 variant, the E-3 Saudi, maintained by the Royal Saudi Air Force. These vital aircraft are stationed on the very same Saudi airfields that just witnessed the destruction of 2 American E-3s. Riyadh is not publicly discussing its plans for its own airborne early warning fleet, now that Iran has unequivocally demonstrated both the capability and the willingness to destroy this category of aircraft on Saudi soil. Privately, however, this exact existential question is undoubtedly the sole topic of every conversation at every Saudi air base. Here is the undeniable meaning of the loss of 4 E-3 Sentries for this war. From this moment forward, American pilots will fly less informed, starting today. This is not a theoretical strategic abstraction. It is a fundamental shift in the survival calculus for every air crew launching from every base in this theater, every single day from now on. Iranian air defense systems now possess more critical time to acquire and engage incoming American aircraft before electronic warfare suppression can effectively blind them. The precious seconds Iran gained yesterday were purchased with burning aircraft and the tragic loss of crews on Saudi and Qatari runways. The intricate coordination that transformed individual American aircraft into an integrated, potent force is now degraded in ways that cannot be immediately repaired by simply deploying replacement assets. One can fly another tanker into the region within 48 hours. But one cannot replace an E-3 along with its highly experienced crew, the specialized ground infrastructure that maintained and launched it, and the complex communications architecture that connected it to every pilot depending on it, within any time frame this conflict will allow. The American Air Force that takes to the skies tomorrow is structurally different from the American Air Force that flew 2 weeks ago. Less connected, less informed, and operating with meaningful, strategically placed gaps in coverage over the most dangerous airspace on Earth. And the adversary who created these gaps did so with intelligence so precise that they could find and destroy 4 of the most carefully protected aircraft in the American inventory, across 2 countries within a mere 18 hours. Iran did not merely destroy 4 aircraft. Iran effectively removed the eyes that made everything else work. The pilots who launched this morning flew into airspace that is fundamentally, measurably, and permanently less safe than the airspace they navigated yesterday. And the question that no briefing room is currently answering aloud, because saying it aloud means acknowledging its terrifying implications, is a simple one. If Iran could find 4 E-3s simultaneously with that level of precision, what else has Iran already found, already mapped, and already loaded into targeting systems that have not yet been used? The eyes are gone. That question remains unsettlingly open, and the answer is somewhere in the silence.